Hi guys, today we are going to be doing something that I feel like I've been waiting a year to do. We're going to be trying out a new palette from Made by Mitchell. Now, if you've been around for a while, you know that his first two palettes were such a hit for me. They were absolutely amazing. The quality on those palettes were spectacular, and that's why I've been so excited for him to come out with another one. So this is the one we're going to try out today. This is the Do You Want Some Milk palette. And I was just on their website like literally 2 minutes ago, and it looks like they're having like some kind of a 50% off sale today. Today is supposed to be like their birthday. That's what it says on their website. I don't know how long that sale is going to last. I'm going to put up this video the same day that I'm filming it, so just wanted to put it out there. If this is a brand that you're interested in trying, they are having a sale. Sadly though, this palette is out of stock, so yeah, that's kind of pointless for me to put up this video today since it is out of stock, but I don't know, I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm super curious and I just want to play with it, and I'm just really excited. I will say though, I just watched this palette and there are a couple of shades in here that I'm a little bit like unsure of, if you want to put it that way. This swatches does look really, really nice though, but there are, like I said, a couple of formulas that I'm just not really sure of. Like this dark green brown shimmer up here is extremely dry and gritty, and it kind of just swatches like a satin, but it's very unpleasant to the touch. And I think it was this one. Yeah, this shimmer here is extremely chunky, and it also feels kind of waxy and sticky in a way. It's kind of hard to explain, but just from swatching those two, I'm a little bit like, that's not the same formula as he had in the other two palettes, because the shimmers in the other palettes are very smooth. They're a little bit on the thin side, but they're very smooth. And a lot of the shimmers in here, the rest of the shimmers are kind of like similar to that, but these two shimmers stuck out to me as being kind of a, were these supposed to be made like this? Like, I'm just a little confused. Anyway, we're gonna test this out. We're gonna see what the quality is like. I am probably going to do a 3-look video with this palette because this color story to me is just so interesting, and it, like, color stories like this makes me want to play with something, and I really do want to test out like a lot of these shades to just kind of see what it's all about, because I do want to know if the formula is the same from his older palettes to his new palette. This palette is also quite expensive. It's £40, which is a lot of money. So, you know, you do get a lot of shadows, but obviously you still want the quality to be great because that is a lot of money to spend. I also did pick up one of his graph ink liners. This is a yellow graphic liner. Duh. But like, we're gonna test out that as well. And I think that probably gonna do some kind of a look that's gonna go with this. So not sure exactly what that is yet, but I do want to play with that liner because it just seems like that would be a good time. So I'm going to start by priming my eyes with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. We'll get into this palette, we'll see what it is all about, see what kind of look I can come up with. And I feel like there are so many different ways you can go with this palette. Like, I don't know, looking at it at first glance, it might not look all that versatile. I don't know, it depends who you ask, I guess, but I feel like some people would maybe look at this and be like, there's not that many things you can do with this palette, but I see so many possibilities and so many color combinations, and they're all gonna be very unique, and I really like that about this palette. I feel like no matter what you pair together, like, there are tones in here that I feel like I don't really have in my collection, and that's sort of what makes it interesting. And if you're someone who's really into neutrals, there's definitely a lot of neutral shades in this palette, but they're, I don't know, I really like the tones of them, even though obviously you probably know I'm not really that into neutrals, but I feel like the tones of these neutrals are interesting enough that even I can mess with those. So let's see, what can we do with this yellow? I'm sort of thinking of staying mostly in this family down here. It can also be fun to maybe pull in this lime green, but I'm not sure if the yellow is going to go with it. The greens are definitely going to go with this liner. Maybe something with like the purples and the greens could be kind of fun. I also need to figure out like what kind of liner detail it is I want to use. Do I just want to do like a cut crease line or something like that, or do I want to do like a full line, or do I just want to do a couple stripes or something? I am really feeling these greens though, I'm not gonna lie. So I think I'm gonna start with, I don't know if this is gonna turn out good. I'm gonna start with the shade here, which is called Grass Fed. Just gonna take that on my Rephr 13 because no one is surprised. And I'm gonna put that in basically my whole, wow, look how pigmented that is. I wasn't expecting it to be as deep and dark as it is, because I feel like it looks a little bit lighter in the pan, but I am not mad at that. It's really pretty. This is like fall in a green if I've ever seen one. That is really, really cute. So I'm gonna take this in my whole crease as my transition shade here, and then I'm probably gonna, maybe I won't take it all the way. I'm gonna take it almost all the way out, and then I will use the purple in the outer portion because I just think that purple and green complement each other so nicely, and I think that these tones are also going to work really well together. I'm taking this up quite high in the front portion of my crease here because I do want to use that sort of graphic liner in here, and I do want to make sure that the green is still going to show above the liner because I do have very hooded eyes, and so I need to put that up quite high, and so I just want to make sure that the shadows are up high as well. I'm probably not going to take the liner any further than like halfway or so. We'll see kind of where I end up when the look is done, but this is such a beautiful green. I love the look of this. I'm next going to go into the purple shade here, and I don't know what I want to do under my eye yet, so we're just going to go into the shade called Angus. Just using the same brush that I wiped off a little bit, no big deal. That is a beautiful color as well. I'm starting in the outer corner of my eye and just sort of packing this on where it is that I want it to be. And I think I'm also going to wing this out a little bit as well as put it on the outer corner of my lid here. I'm not sure which shimmers I want to use yet, but so far this is performing very well. Not having any problems. It's building nicely. I haven't really blended much yet, so I don't know exactly how the blendability of these shadows are, but we will find out shortly. I'm gonna take this on my lower lash line as well, at least in the outer portion. I'm probably gonna use some kind of a shimmer in the front portion, or at least another matte, just to try out more shades, but I do want to make sure that I connect my outer corner slash lid shade with this just to get a nice blend on the outer corner. And then I'm just going to use this shade on its own here to try to get a decent blend. Yeah, I do remember that being one of the things that I really enjoyed about his other palettes, is that they blend out so nicely on their own, and that to me just makes a shadow so much easier to work with and so much more versatile. If you don't need to go in with multiple shades to get like a good blend, you can just see like how nicely that sort of fades out. Yeah, that looks really nice. I like that a lot. I'm just gonna kind of work on the blend between the purple and the green. And the nice thing about these tones being so dark and a little bit grungy to begin with is that they're not gonna really, they're gonna muddy up a little bit, but in a sense they're gonna make a sort of brown grungy shade where they meet that's also still going to look like it belongs with these shades. Like, I wouldn't mix a bright purple in with a bright green because then it's just going to end up being a weird brown. But like this kind of brown that is making in the middle here, it's not like an unpleasant brown, and it kind of looks intentional rather than you trying to mix two colors in together that aren't really supposed to be mixed. So I really like this. I think that looks very, very nice. One thing to mention with his matte formula is that it's not very powdery, so sometimes it takes a little bit of just digging your brush in there and building up the shadow, but they build really, really nicely, and you can get them to be very nice and intense, but you can also, like I said before, shear them out or just not go in with as much as what I'm doing and get a much more subtle look and more of a wash of color, if that is what you're looking for. Obviously that is not what I'm looking for, as I'm sure you can tell. Like, I want this to be as dark as I can possibly get it, but it's definitely giving me exactly what it is that I want. So far we're having a great time with the mattes. Let's see, there is like a little bit of kickoff for me just swatching these shadows because I did kind of dig my finger into them, so there's like a little bit of color all over here. Let's see, I'm thinking for underneath my eye, it could be fun to maybe use, like, how bright is this yellow? Is this yellow similar to this one? This is more of an orange, and this is more of like a yellow. I was kind of thinking I would do a little bit of the yellow underneath my eye. Maybe that could be kind of fun, but I'm not sure that these two tones of yellow are necessarily going to go together. Not sure about that. So let's see, what's going to look nice with this on my lid here? There's not really that many shimmer options that I feel like I can really use. I do want to try out that weird one though. Like, this is such a strange, it's so hard pressed. It reminds me of the red in the Alien Cosmetics Serendipity palette. I think that's the one that I'm thinking of. You guys who watched my video on that, you probably know which one I mean, but it's very similar. Like, it's such a weird shadow, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. So I'm going to take, let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to take this brush from Rephr. This is the 21, and this is sort of a, I don't want to call it scratchy, but in a way it's the kind of brush that's going to pick up shadows that are maybe a little bit tricky to pick up, and I'm really digging into my pan here and kind of like roughing it up so that I get a lot of this on my brush. It's almost like it's hard panned already. Like I really don't like the formula on the shadow, like regardless of what it looks like on the eye, because it's already just like hard to work with. So I'm just gonna use the shade Dry. This was the shade that was called Brown Cow. That's such a funny name. I'm gonna start that in the middle of my lid here and just sort of blend it into the purple. I'm not spraying this or anything because I don't want this to be super intense. I just want this to be a shade that I can kind of blend into the purple, and then we will do a more popping shimmer on the front part. I really don't like this shadow. Like I don't know what their goal with the shadow was. I just don't really understand it. Like it's a very strange formula. I'm thinking maybe going in with a fluffy brush and using it as more of a matte is a better idea. Like it's almost like it wants to be a cream to powder, but it's not because it's kind of shiny at the same. I don't know. This shade is just weird. It's just weird. I mean, it's looking, I don't know, kind of boring. I was gonna say okay, but it's kind of boring. I'll be completely honest. I'm not a fan of this shade, but I still wanted to test it out just to see if it would look any better on the eyes than it swatched, and I would say it does not. But I do like the color combination. The color combination looks really nice. I really like how this looks with the purple and the green here, and I think that with something else in the front portion of my lid, we're definitely gonna make this work. So my only issue is that I feel like maybe what it is that I'm looking to do is I kind of wish I put down this green first and then layered this one over the top, because I wish there was like a light green shimmer. I don't think this has a green shift to it. Maybe it does have a little bit of a green shift to it. Maybe that's just what I want to use. I think I'm just going to take that shade on the same brush. I'm just going to wipe it off because I'm lazy AF. Just going to take the other side of this brush here, and I'm going to pick up the shadow. And like this one just picks up so much better. Like there's something about that shade that I just don't like it. So I'm going to go ahead and spray this a little bit because I do want this to be nice and intense here. And I'm just going to put that on the front portion of my lid. Okay, so this is a green duochrome. That is honestly really pretty. I wasn't expecting this to be as green as it is. It definitely could be because I am using it together with that green matte, but that is beautiful. That is a great addition to this palette. I feel like it goes very nicely with basically all of the mattes in here, except for maybe like the lavender matte or something like that, but this looks really, really, really nice. Like, look how smooth that looks on the lid. That's one of the things about like his shimmers, especially from the other palettes, that they just look really nice on the lids, and they also just wear so beautifully. They're not necessarily the most textured and crazy, but they're just they just look really good. Like, I don't know what it is about them, but I really like his shimmers for the most part. I'm curious to just test out all of the shades in this palette. Like, I feel like this palette, I need more time with this. Like, this is just a first impression, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this palette when I've used it more. So I'm definitely gonna do a multiple look video with this, even if there's not that much demand for it, and even if people don't care. Like, I am just so curious that I want to properly make up my mind about this palette because I want it to be good so bad, and I think that's what annoys me a little bit about like some of these shades being a little bit iffy when I swatch them, is because I just want this to be amazing because I think the color story is just so fun. Just gonna go in with a little bit more here. I think the color story of this palette is just so fun and unique and different, and I think that the idea behind Mitchell's brand, I like that is more like artist focused and more about just having fun with makeup, and his products are like very colorful and bright and fun, and like I love that. So let's see, do I want to do anything else underneath my eye? I'm not sure how this yellow is going to go, but we're going to try it anyway. But I do want to use just one more shade here. Let's see, is this going to be kind of weird? Probably. So maybe I'll just do a little bit unsure. I'm thinking I just want to do this one, but I just don't know if it's going to go with the rest of the look that I have going on. Maybe what I need to do is I need to do the liner detail first, and then we can see kind of where I'm at with that. So I'm not going to be able to talk while I do this because I suck at this to begin with, so this is probably not going to go well, and it's probably going to ruin the look, but we'll find out what happens. So this is the Graph Ink Liner in the shade Sugar Rush. So it is just a yellow. It comes with this is like a silicone tip applicator, I would say. It doesn't feel like, well, maybe it is a brush tip. Is it a brush tip though? Like, it doesn't feel like it has like individual hair. I don't know, like it's a strange tip. That's what she said. But I think that this is probably going to work really well. Like, I'm excited. So let me just go ahead and try to do this without messing up too much. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to make like a line basically following where I put down my shimmer and probably stop at about like halfway or so, maybe a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It might get out of hand. It might turn out terribly, but cross your fingers for me. So already this ended up being way too thick in the front portion, but that just means that I need to make it a lot thicker and just kind of fade it into more of a thin line here, and I think it's gonna be okay. I feel like these kind of products, it's such a learning curve. You need to really like get used to working with the applicator and the formula. It's a little bit on the thin side. It's not the most opaque right away, but it does seem to build very nicely, and you can definitely get a very, very sharp line. Like I said before, I'm not someone who does this a lot. I'm not an expert at all on using products like this, so this is coming from someone who really has no idea how to use these. So you can see I'm doing it very thick in the beginning and just sort of fading it out into more of a thin line here because I did kind of mess up in the beginning, but I think that's going to be okay. So I'm going to do the same on the other eye and then probably just build it up a little bit to be a bit more opaque, and then we'll see what it ends up looking like. Hopefully it's gonna sort of come together. I don't know, we'll see. So I think that the applicator on it is actually quite nice. It's very nice and precise. It definitely has a learning curve. I did get a little bit of this on my lid. I'm just gonna go over it with some shadow and hopefully cover that boo-boo up a little bit, but I think this is looking, I mean, okay, everything considered. Considering that I'm not very good at this. So like I said, I'm just taking some shadows here and making sure that everything is looking nice and blended. And now I want to see if I want to do anything else underneath my eye. I'm not sure if I do. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that matte though, I'm just kind of going back and forth here and making sure that things are looking the way that I want them to. But I think that it was fairly easy to work with. I didn't really have any problems other than just user error because I'm not used to doing this. It's not something I do very often, but I think that it turned out really fun. Like, I definitely think that with some liner and mascara, I think this is gonna look super cute. So I think I'm just gonna finish off. I'm not sure if I want to do like an extra pop of color in there. I think I'm just gonna go in with the green again. I'm just gonna take the shade that I used in the front portion of my crease just to kind of connect this, and then I will take a little bit more of the lid shade right in my inner corner just to make it all come together. So I think this is where I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off, put on some lipstick, some highlighter, and all that jazz, and I will show you the look. Okay, and here's the final look. I definitely think that some liner, some mascara made this come together, and I'm feeling this look. I don't know, like, I think it'll turn out really, really good. Despite that one shadow kind of being a dud, I think that the completed look turned out very, very nicely. I'm really happy with this. To finish off, I used an eyeliner from Melt in my waterline. This is one of the Beetlejuice collection ones that came out last year. This is in the shade The Afterlife. I just thought it would go really nicely with what I have going on the lid. My blush today is the one from Wet n Wild that I tried in my the last video that I put up. I will link that up there. I did a video with their holiday collection, and this was one of the items in here, and it's like a pumpkin blush, and I think it looks so cute, and it also smells like pumpkin. Like, oh, it smells so good. It smells delicious. Let's see, for my lipstick today, I'm wearing one from the MAC holiday set that I showed in my haul video, and I also used it in, wait, I didn't show that in my haul video. I showed that in my other video that I posted like 2 days. I feel like I've been posting so many videos and they're all just kind of blurring together, but I'm wearing this shade right here, which is called Mare. and I really like it. I think it's beautiful. I'm not sure exactly how well it goes with the look, but I put it on and I didn't feel like changing, so here we are, and I think it's fine still. My highlighter today is from Bitter Lace Beauty. It is in the shade Electric because it is my favorite highlighter in my collection. Not gonna deny that, I use that so often. And that's how I finished off, and I really like this. Like I said earlier in the video, I do need to just play with this palette more. This is going to go first in my pile of stuff that I'm going to film more with once I'm done with all of my first impression videos. We're still quite a while from that, but I'm still excited to be playing more with this palette, and I just want to figure out how exactly I feel about it. Like, I want to test out enough shades that I can say that, is this palette worth it despite some of these shimmers not being my favorites? But honestly, I feel like for myself, this is the kind of palette that I will pull out for the mattes rather than the shimmers. So I think for me, in the end, this is going to be worth it given that all of the mattes perform well, because I have so many like amazing, sparkly, beautiful, unique shimmers in my singles that I feel like none of these shimmers are really going to compete with that. But if the mattes are good, I'm going to be a happy girl, but I'm still a little bit like what is this formula? It's so chunky and it's weird. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see how it looks on the eyes, because in the pan it looks really nice, but I'm just curious to see how they perform on the eyes. So I'm gonna have to just make up my mind on this palette a little bit more, but I do really like the look that came out of it. And I actually really like the liner as well. It has a little bit of a learning curve, but I feel like the applicator is much better than other applicators and similar products that I've tried. Like, I have a ton of the JD Glow ones, which I really do like these, but I feel like the applicator is, it's almost a little bit too flimsy. It's not stiff enough. Like, I feel like this one is a lot stiffer and it gives you a little bit more control. But like I said, there is still a learning curve on just how to work with these, because they can be a little bit tricky, and I'm not someone who's good with like detail work. So I feel like I got a really good result out of it for, you know, the skill level that I'm at with such a product. And I think that it's really fun. Like, it's a fun product to just spice up a look a little bit, and you don't have to do anything like as crazy as what I'm doing. You can even use it to make like small little dots, like that would be really fun, or just do like one line like right here or something, or maybe like top your liquid liner with, I don't know, like I feel like there's a lot of things you can do with those kind of products, and I think they're fun to have in my collection even though I don't really use them that often. So like, are they really worth the money to me? With the amount of times that I'm going to use it, probably not, but I still think they're kind of fun. So that's basically going to be my thoughts so far. So if you want to see the other videos that I did with Made by Mitchell, I did those last year. I don't know if they're any good. I mean, they're probably fine still. I will link those. I will make a playlist and put it right there. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.